This time of the year I like to drive around public properties, especially the smaller forgotten ones, and look for deer tracks coming out of the thick cover on the public going into crops or food sources of some sort across roads. And that works pretty good, and then you follow those deer tracks back to where you think they're moving in daylight, where you think you're pushing that envelope, and set up. One thing I like to do is not follow those tracks directly from the road to where you're going to hunt, unless you're just going to give it one shot. The best thing to do is to come in around and hook. Look where those tracks come in. Hook around and come back up to them without, getting your scent all over them, and then hunt them. And then you might get a second or third shot at hunting these spots. But keep in mind, those deer are experts at seeing your tracks, going over smelling your tracks, following your tracks, and figuring you out. Now that method has worked really good for me in the past, but now as word's getting out, more and more people are doing that. And for the better hunter, sometimes it's better to get off the road, go back a ways, and cut tracks way back, where people aren't looking at this time of the year. Not too many people are going back in deep at this time of the year, but you can still find stuff by the road by looking at smaller properties that aren't as pressured, that people forget about at this time of the year. When you set up these little spots and you stuff yourself into the brush, it's important, if you're using a swivel chair, to get on the chair, swivel around. Make sure no brush is hitting in the back. Stamp off every little branch that might cause you a problem. When you get set up, draw your bow. Make sure you have clearance. Make sure you can shoot everywhere there is where that deer might end up without hitting a little branch, without having anything in your way. Look as you're aiming. Is there any little twigs sticking up? Because as we saw last winter when I did a ground hunt, that one little twig I didn't cut is what cost me my shot. So for me, this time I made sure nothing's going to make noise when I swivel. Nothing's in the way. Now it left me a little more vulnerable, a little more open, but I wore snow camo, stuffed myself in there, and if they didn't know I was there, I should get away with it. Make sure where you put your feet on the ground, it's not making noise. No crunching, no noise there. Just wipe the snow away. If there's ice there or something that's going to crunch no matter what you do, put something down there, whether it's a shirt or what, to dampen the noise, so that when you have that critical movement, you don't get that crunch and draw attention. I set up in the dogwood, right up against an opening, found a whole bunch of tracks coming through here in the snow. And I came in here and I set up a cell cam over there. And the deer have been pretty nocturnal. But when the front came in yesterday, I had deer here a little before dark, walking around on the camera. So I came in now. That's really late. They were on the camera about 15-20 minutes from now. So if they're coming again, I gotta be careful about how much I move or talk. I gotta get my white hood up. But I'm nestled back into the dogwood and the snow on the ground. There really is only one tree in here, and it'd be hell to kill a deer out of it. But I think sitting here on the ground, I might be able to catch them by surprise. Hopefully they don't bust me. But hope they at least come in tonight. Looked like on camera they came from right over there. Walked through the opening and went over there. I got wind going like this. Normally the wind blows right the direction they're coming from. But we got a rare easterly wind, northeast. And it was northeast yesterday when they came in. And I think I know where they're bedding, and it's only about 150 yards from here. So if they play the same game today they did yesterday, I'm going to shoot one. Now I would much rather hunt out of a tree. Deer bust you a lot less when you're up high. However, a lot of times they're in this brush, they're in this cover that doesn't have trees, and if you push yourself to the trees, you're too close to the bedding. So sometimes you have to get on the ground, especially this time of the year when things are so open. There's no cover in the trees, and there's no cover at ground level, and a deer can see you for so far. Sometimes you got to get on the ground. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But anybody who always hunts out of trees, or always hunts 30 feet high, or always hunts on the ground is making a mistake. You got to look at your best options. By weighing your options and doing what's best for each situation, you'll be a better hunter. You'll have more success. You can see my cell cam right there. I'm expecting a deer to walk along that edge over there. Deer tracks joining mine, deer tracks in my tracks here, deer tracks there, going right up my footprints. No deer trail here, right up my footprints. I think a lot of people don't realize, they think they can get a setup like this, off to the side, come in here, never walk where the deer walked, and the deer will never know that they were there. These deer are real curious animals. They'll track you down and pattern you. And I'm sitting in the same spot. The deer tracked me to the spot, so I'm a little leery they come out, they're going to see me here. But I got a camera here and it's been picking up daytime movement every day except for the day I was here. So the real trick to this time of the year is I've been driving around and looking for tracks, been walking and looking for tracks, checking areas, checking food sources, going around and finding where there's deer. At this time of the year, and especially with the last snowfall, now we got like a foot of snow on the ground, and we got more coming tonight. So with all this snow, these deer are really congregating around food. And what I got here is I found some tracks coming out of bedding, going to food over here, crop food, a cornfield that still has some stuff under the ground apparently because they're pawing it up. But meanwhile, they're staging over here where there's dogwood. They're holing up in this dogwood. Problem is, a lot of them are getting here in the dark, and I can't hunt where they're coming from. I got this little window I can hunt that's public. I don't want to show too much because every time I show too much, the places get overrun with hunters. Apparently people can't learn from the videos and find their own spots. They gotta hunt your spots. As you can hear, I'm right alongside of a road. I'm right behind some houses. These deer are feeding into here and they're moving across the street. There's a lot of bucks coming in too. Most of them are shed antler bucks, but they're coming in after hours and they're coming from further back. What I'm targeting is does, and they've been coming in daylight. I'm going to have to be careful to make sure it's not one of the shed antler bucks when it shows up. And I'm going to have to be really careful about not moving because these deer will spot me here. They've already followed my tracks. They know I sit here. They've patterned me. So when they come in and they look over here, I have to be just motionless and get the job done. So hopefully something shows up. They're either coming out over there or they're coming out over here and they're going into the brush over there. It's going to be like a 25-yard shot. I was going to use my recurve, but it's just too far for the recurve. I cut up a shirt for camo on my head. I don't like the hood on this jacket. It blocks my eyesight. And that little annoyance will probably cause me an issue when a deer comes in. Maybe I'll get some luck because I used a Trump shirt, as you can see. So way back from 2016, Trump shirt. So probably should have kept it, but it's the only thing I had that was white. should be out pretty soon. It's only about a half an hour to when I get the pictures, so I gotta shut up and start sitting still and get the bow ready and go time. It got a little fun there for a minute. I could hear deer go through, but they went through further back in the heavy cover and they never crossed the opening. They just went past. Well, it got down to the second from last day of the season. And we had a big snowstorm coming in. And we still had that east wind. And I knew it was probably my last shot, my last chance. Well, I'm back in my spot again. This spot is nice because it's stuck off to the side. I don't have to go anywhere near where the deer walk to get here. So I'm hoping the majority of them don't know I'm here. But I can see in the snow where they've tracked me to the spot and smelt that I sat here. So I'd expect them to look over here when they come in. But I have a cell cam here and I'm getting daylight pictures. On snowy days and cold front days. And today a snowstorm's coming in. Yesterday, just before closing, I had deer walk through out of range and heavy brush. You couldn't see them. Normally I won't hunt the same spot over and over again. Sitting here 3 times is something I hardly ever do. But the camera don't lie. I put a camera in there and I came in from a direction where I wasn't crossing those trails or going near the trails. I stayed back. Now they did bust me, they did smell my tracks, but the camera don't lie. The camera was telling me the deer were still coming through and occasionally still coming in daylight. So as long as they were willing to push the limits and take risks, I was willing to push the limits and take chances on getting these deer. And I got a trail cam picture 15 minutes after I left of deer walking past. So I'm hoping with the snow they come out a little earlier today. We'll see. Being that I hunted here 3 times, they may be on to me to some point, but I'm still getting trail cam pics. And it's the end of the season. It's the last couple days, and I can only shoot doe anyway, so I might as well just give her and see what happens. It beats sitting in the house and sitting on the computer, right? And I'm out of venison. Been giving it all away to people that need it more than me, and I'll probably give most of this one away too, but I like venison. And I like killing stuff. Does that make me a bad person? Again, the deer came through in thick cover, and they got to the edge where I could almost get a shot through, but it was too thick, and I was just looking for an opening. But they caught something. They were staring right at me. Now I wasn't moving, I didn't make noise, nothing. They're probably the deer that tracked me down. That's probably why they were going around. And they were probably looking at that spot, looking for trouble. And they got in a staring match with me for quite a while. We just stared eye to eye, and I didn't move and they didn't move. And I just waited for an opportunity to shoot. Then suddenly, the wind blew hard, and when it did, they bugged out and ran. And they ran right into my opening. Got me another one. I got in a staring match with her. I don't know if she could see my face or what, but a little gust of wind happened and they bolted out, and I pulled back the bow, and sure enough they stopped and gave me a shot. It looked like a good shot. I really hope I got her clean, but it looked like I drilled her. So even though it was just a doe, it was kind of exciting. It was kind of fun. It's kind of cool. Well, I guess I'm gonna pack up here. We're about to get hit by a really heavy snowstorm, which is why the deer were moving early. So I better get on that blood trail pretty quick. It looked like a hard shot, so unless my eyes played tricks on me, and they could have, I don't think we're going to have to look very far. Now, one thing I do that I think is important that a lot of people don't catch on to is when deer run, I draw my bow. So I get my bow drawn so that if there's an opportunity, if they stop, or if I can stop them, I'm already at draw, I can shoot. So I draw, and sure enough, the last one stops, turns around to look back for trouble. And I got the pin on the heart and dropped it before they could take back off. Yeah, here's the good blood here. Crashing right through here. Oh, there's a pile of blood there. Look at that. Wow. I don't think she got far. Looked like a hard shot. I think it was a hard shot. Nice. Well, not much of a track job. Just starting to get dark. She made it about 100 yards, if that.